Have you ever ripped the crotch right out of your pants? I am at a 5 Rhythms dance training. I am sweaty, I'm breathing hard, I am moving my body, I am feeling myself. I'm having an amazing time dancing. Suddenly, I hear a rip. I know immediately what just happened. I look down to see a giant tear all the way across the crotch of my tight-fitting dance pants. I turn and I see one of my teachers whisper to the other teacher, whom I had a crush on. She danced herself right out of her pants for you. I look down, blushing. Phew, my underwear are still intact. I run to the changing room and I burst out laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. Oh, that was the moment I knew I was no longer afraid to laugh at myself. I had just survived massive embarrassment. I wasn't always sure, though, what I could survive. Several years later, my partner grabbed me by the throat. And soon after, things started getting strange. I started having nightmares and then day visions. I lost my sense of time and space. Everything was becoming really surreal and totally disconnected. I tried to make myself feel better, and I danced and I danced and I danced like a maniac right out of my body. I thought I had already healed from the horrific, violent crimes I had survived. It had been over 3 years since I'd had a trauma trigger, but the moment hands were at my throat, red alert. Now, as a trained therapist and a coach, I thought, I know how to manage this. I know how to be with my feelings. So I asked my best friend to take me to her mountain cabin in the woods so I could just be with it all. Well, the truth is, I was terrified because this surreal state went on and on and on. Honestly, there were so many moments I did not know if I was going to make it back. 21 blurred sunrises and sunsets went by before I felt normal again. Normal meaning I was back in my body with a clear mind. And the first thing I did upon my return, yes, that's right, I ended my abusive relationship immediately. Now, what did I learn from those 21 days? Post-traumatic stress disorder can occur at any time. PTSD is a mental and behavioral disorder that can happen after having survived an extreme trauma, such as sexual assault, violent crimes, domestic abuse, warfare, gun violence, a bad traffic accident, horrific bullying. When these kinds of things happen, our mental defense structures have to become so strong that we might look okay, act okay, seem okay, but we may not be okay if we are seriously triggered again. Now, I had already been using conscious dance and breath work, which are scientifically proven to help, as well as therapy, meditation, yoga, and good daily habits. But clearly, I was still missing something. I began understanding that although I had been using conscious dance and breath extensively to heal, perhaps I was using them in a way that made me escape my body and not face what I needed to feel. You know how you'll go out to a club or a concert or a party or a great dance class You put on the music, you start feeling the beats, you start feeling the bliss, you're starting to feel ecstatic. You're feeling almost high from all the oxygen. It's a great time and a great release. And we need to know how to use dance and breath to ground us. We can't just dance ourselves out of our bodies or our feelings. We need to be able to dive in, move with them, with a present state of mind, a steady consciousness, a consistent breath like the beats of a drum, grounding us into the moment. I had these tools. Had I used them during my PTSD trigger, perhaps things might have gone differently. Maybe it wouldn't have taken so long, or maybe I wouldn't have gone there at all. I now know that living inside this body means knowing where the ground really is. We need to know how to be grounded and present under severe stress. So, over the next 20 years, similar to the past 10, thousands continued to contact me to do this kind of work. But because I'd switched it up, some were still coming for the bliss and the beat and the fun, and others were coming to unfreeze emotional trauma. I researched that both grounding and mindfulness are cited in Harvard Business School reports as well as Eastern yogic traditions as excellent ways to cope with severe stress. So, bringing together grounded awareness with my dance and breath was my new awesome. But then I got put to the ultimate test with a phone call from the San Francisco Violent Crime Division. Hello, I'm so sorry to have to do this to you and bring up such painful memories. But I need to let you know that one of your perpetrators is up for his parole trial. This means he could be released from prison. You have the right to come to court and give a victim impact witness statement to allow both him and the court to understand how this crime impacted the trajectory of your life. If you're uncomfortable speaking to him, I'm happy to have you write it up beforehand and I could read it for you. Oh, whoa. Wait, do I need to attend? No, it's your right, it's your choice. Why would anybody want to do this? But then I took a breath, I grounded my feet, I tuned into my body, I released any tension, got present, and I realized how well I am doing. What a meaningful and purposeful life I've been able to create. I want to see this man. I want to face him. I'm in, click. Okay, now, how do we victims of violent crime do this? I learned that in 2008, the University of Chicago determined that it is helpful for victims of violent crimes to give a victim impact statement because it allows them to share their pain, their grief, their losses publicly, to be heard. I was determined to face my perpetrator. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone needs to do this. Everyone's situation is different. But for me, in this moment, it resonated. I did. So, the court day arrives. I'm feeling a little jelly in my belly. And when my perpetrator enters the courtroom, I do not even recognize him. I thought he was a court appointee. 26 years have passed, and we are no longer the same. I am no longer captive to fear. I used my tools of grounding, free-form movement, and breath all throughout the 4.5-hour parole trial. And when it was time for the victim witness assistant to read the letter I'd written up beforehand, I'd ask her to do that because I was really nervous. that my voice would shake. I allowed her to finish, but I knew what I had to do. May I speak to him directly? You may. I see you. I truly hope and pray that you will find your freedom and that you will do what you need to continue your healing. Tears are rolling down his face. He is sobbing. His shirt is drenched. And I no longer feel like a victim. I don't even feel like a survivor. I feel like a thriver. Woo! I had faced my inner and my outer perpetrator, and I was free. And you can do the same, because we all have a fear, right? We all have an inner or an outer assailant, and grounded breath and movement practice brings the freedom needed to face your fear. So I'd like to invite you right now to take a moment, grab your phone, and make a note for some time when you are in a safe place tonight to try this. Raise your hands in the air and shake them. Stomp your feet, ground them. Bring your core body in, your hips, your spine, your belly. Release, 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 release. Do this until you feel free. And when you do, bring your arms down slowly. Bending your knees, grounding your feet, relaxing, getting present, taking a breath. Until you feel ready to take your next step towards finding your voice and your freedom. Because we have everything we need right inside of us. Your breath dances with you from the moment you enter into a body until the moment you leave. So let the dance of your movement and breath be your best friend, your greatest guide, your ally to face any fear.